Hey everyone, Miss Strong here presenting your first video for the Force and Motion unit, which is a review of energy, forms of energy, and transformations. You probably have come across this either in 6th or 7th grade. Just to see where you're at, here are some questions you can answer, and by the end of the video you'll know whether or not you got them right. So take a second to answer these 4 questions you see on the screen, and let me remind you for the rest of the video, if you see words, write them down. Don't hesitate to pause so you can get everything written down. Watch it more than once just to see if there's anything you missed the first time. And if you have questions during the video, write them down so we can answer them in class. Energy is defined scientifically as the ability to do work. It can be transferred from one object to another, and we put it into 2 major categories: potential, which is stored energy or energy of position, something being held in place, or kinetic, which is energy of motion. Very important for you to remember, all energy can be potential or kinetic, and there are certain times when it can be both at the same time. Now that we've gone over the 2 categories, potential and kinetic, let's look at some different forms that fall under those 2 categories. I know this is a lot of writing, so make sure you pause to get it all written down. Something that might help you remember all these different forms is the acronym at the bottom of the screen, CEMENT, C-E-M-E-N-T. The C stands for chemical, which is energy stored in the bonds of atoms and molecules. Electromagnetic is light energy or other forms of energy on the electromagnetic spectrum, which we'll discuss later in the year, like radio waves, X-rays, and microwaves. It's also referred to as radiant, light, or solar energy, so don't be surprised if you see it written one of those ways instead of as electromagnetic. The M is for mechanical, which is energy due to motion or position. In addition to mechanical energy, which is objects in motion, there's also stored mechanical, either gravitational or elastic, and sound. E, or the other E at least, is for electrical, which is energy from moving electrons. N is for nuclear, which is energy stored in the nucleus of an atom. We'll also go over those later in the year. And that energy is released when they split a nucleus or they combine nuclei. Finally, the T is for thermal, which is energy of moving or vibrating particles. Faster movement equals more energy, and it's most often associated with heat. Now, I mentioned previously that energy can be transferred from one object to another, and as that happens, it can actually change forms, and that is the definition of an energy transformation. The fact that energy can change forms is why we have the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transformed. And the different forms of energy within a given transformation will always add up to the original amount you started with. As 8th graders, you will be responsible for identifying transformations taking place in certain situations or scenarios. So here are a couple of examples. These 4 are fairly simple, and you might have seen them before. Radiant or electromagnetic energy from the sun being transferred to chemical energy in plants. Electricity or electrical energy from the outlet being put to a stove and transformed to thermal energy. Chemical energy from food, in this case ice cream, being transformed into mechanical energy that your body uses to move, or chemical energy in the form of gas being put in the car and transformed to mechanical energy that gets that car down the road. Like I said, these are fairly simple. You're actually going to be expected to identify multi-step transformations, and here are 2 of those. So in a blow dryer, electrical energy actually is converted to mechanical energy, which spins the blades. It's also converted to thermal energy, and that fan forces the air out. You also get sound energy. In the flashlight, you have chemical energy in the batteries being transformed to electrical energy, and then light and thermal. Things to remember about energy transformations: the arrows indicate a transfer of energy, not the creation of it, and many transformations result in a transfer of thermal energy even if we don't notice it. Here are some questions to test yourself and see how well you understand the concepts from the video, and we'll actually be doing more energy transformations in class.